Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You know, growing up in Las Vegas had a lot of perks. One was always eating at gourmet restaurants. My father was one of the bosses at the Rivera back in the heyday, and my godfather was the boss of the Stardust in the heyday. So there was many nights where we would go to gourmet restaurants in Las Vegas on the Strip. But my all-time favorite was the Delmonico room at the Rivera Hotel and Casino. The Delmonico room was their gourmet restaurant, and they had an appetizer, Baked Scampi, which was to die for. Well, many years later, I ran into the old original chef of the Delmonico room, and he taught me the recipe, and I'm teaching it to you today, so stick around. All right, let's jump right into this. Let's get our prep work out of the way first. We're gonna have to dice up one shallot. This is a medium to large size. Doesn't have to be super fine, but you don't want it any too big of pieces in there that you wouldn't want to chew on. And while I'm dicing up this shallot, if I can remind you all to please share, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you can. I really appreciate you. The channel's coming along pretty good. Anyways, we're going to get these shallots diced up, put them in a little bowl, set those to the side. Next, I've got one head of Italian parsley. Just chop the head off. Take out any stems that are real big, and just give this a nice rough chop as well. And once we have this chopped up, we're going to put this to the side. Now we're going to break out our food processor and grab yourself about 15 to 18 Ritz crackers and toss those into that food processor and fire it up until you've got basically breadcrumbs made out of Ritz crackers. You'll see here in a second what I'm talking about. That's what we want. Nice and fine, just like that. That's going to be our topping for our baked shrimp scampi. Now I've got 15 to 12 to the pound size or jumbo shrimp. I'm going to take the tails out, or the shells off, except I'm going to leave a little bit of shell where the tail is. They've already been deveined, but what I'm going to do is open up that back a little bit more, so it's a little wider when it cooks, so it holds on to more of the sauce and the breadcrumbs and the seasonings. So just carefully take your paring knife and just open that up just a little bit more, and that's what you want. Nice little pocket. Now we'll put all those shrimp into a bowl. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, or whatever salt you have. We're going to add a bunch of fresh ground black pepper. Some olive oil. Some white wine, about a 1/4 cup. We're going to zest about 3/4 of one lemon. Then we're going to cut that lemon in half and squeeze the juice of both halves into that bowl. Now get yourself a spoon and give that a good mix. Make sure everybody's coated nice. And then we're going to set that aside. Now we're going to work on our bread that we serve alongside the shrimp. I've got some nice sourdough that I'm cutting long ways. I'm going to brush olive oil on that bread, throw into the oven, and broil until nice and toasty, like that. There you go. Now, hit it with a little bit of balsamic vinegar glaze, and we'll set that aside until it's time to plate. All right, let's get started on the sauce. 1 stick of butter, the shallots that we diced up nice on medium heat. We're going to saute those shallots for a few minutes. I've got 4 cloves of garlic that I diced up. Going to toss those in. And you know the rule. As soon as that garlic becomes fragrant, we add our wine. A little bit more than a 1/4 cup of white wine. Let that simmer for a few minutes. Next, we're gonna add about a teaspoon of red pepper flake to kick it up a notch, as Emerald used to say. And now we're gonna let that sauce just simmer for a little while, and it'll slowly thicken up a little bit. And while that's simmering, I've got my little boats here. I'm gonna put 6 shrimp in each boat. Now save the marinade that the shrimp are in. Don't toss that out. Now once we get our shrimp in their little places, we're going to take that shrimp marinade and all that flavor and throw it right into our frying pan. And we'll let that get mixed up nice and let that simmer for another about 10 minutes. And then we're going to spoon this sauce mixture right over the shrimp in their little house there. About 4 to 5 big spoonfuls is about just enough sauce per boat. So got one down, fill the other one up. And then we're going to move back to our station, and we're going to add our Ritz cracker topping right on top. And at this point, I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. So once we have the shrimp covered with the Ritz, we're going to pop them into the oven for between, I'd say about 18 to 22 minutes. And then we'll pull them out of the oven. And all we have left to do is to hit them with a little bit of shredded Parmesan Reggiano. A little bit on each boat. And I turn the oven off and turn the broiler on high. So then we'll now toss these under the broiler for about 5 minutes or so. You don't want to burn it, so keep an eye on it. And then once that's done, the parsley we diced up or chopped up, we'll throw on top for a nice garnish. Serve with our toasted bread, and you have delicious Delmonico baked shrimp scampi, just like they used to do it back in the 70s and the 80s. All right, make this dish. You're going to love it. Treat your friends and family to it. Thank you much.